Welcome back to Rebel with a Cause, Called to the Case. I'm Kitty, and today we tell the story of a little girl whose name you may not have heard of, but once you do, I promise, you'll never forget it. Little Teekah Lewis. She was just 2 years old, bright-eyed, sweet-spirited, shy, gentle, and gone, without a trace, in a matter of moments. What happened to her on the night of January 23rd, 1999, has haunted her family ever since. But her story isn't just about her disappearance. It is also about a mother's unshakable faith and a community still searching for the truth. Grab some water or whatever, maybe a snack, and let's talk about what happened, or at least what we know so far. Teekah Rain Lewis was born in Tacoma, Washington, July 4th, 1996, to Teresa English and Robert Lewis. She was a soft-spoken child with deep brown eyes and a gentle nature. Her family described her as quiet, sensitive, and loving, a shy mama's girl who loved Winnie the Pooh and eating Starburst candy. Teekah reportedly had eczema and asthma and used an inhaler. Her mother, Teresa, was 22 at the time and completely devoted to her baby girl. They lived in a modest apartment in Tacoma, surrounded by extended family who doted on Teekah. She loved playing toy cars, and she had her favorites. She also loved Winnie the Pooh and watching basketball with her uncles. Teekah was just learning to talk in full sentences and learning to explore the world. She had her whole life ahead of her, and then in a flash, it all changed. January 23rd, 1999, Teekah and several family members were at New Frontier Lanes bowling alley in Tacoma, Washington. The family had rented lanes 7 and 8. Saturday is usually busy, but this was also a league night, and there were 32 lanes total. Teekah was near the front of the building, only 6 feet from the side exit by the arcade area, playing a car racing video game. According to Teresa, she was standing between the counter that separated the bowling alley and the arcade and restaurant area, so that she could watch her children and the adult family members bowling too. Around 10:30 p.m., Teresa went to check on Teekah, but she couldn't find her. One moment, Teekah was there, tiny hands on the steering wheel, focused on the screen. The next moment, she was gone. No screams, no sound. No one saw a struggle. Right there in the middle of a crowded public space, panic set in. Teresa searched every corner of the building. Staff stopped what they were doing and joined in the search. Police were called immediately, but Teekah was nowhere to be found. The search started within minutes. Officers from Tacoma Police Department flooded the area. Roadblocks were set up. Helicopters hovered overhead. Canine units were even brought in. But the alley's parking lot sat right near State Route 16, a major highway that would provide a quick getaway, and witnesses gave inconsistent reports. When Teekah's case reopened in 2020, police released a statement of a man who had claimed he had been there at New Frontier's bowling alley that night. This man was 17 at the time, and he was there bowling with his family. He reported going to the restroom and bumping into a man, a white male around 5'11", with long curly brown hair, a mustache, and pockmarks on his face, carrying a young multiracial child. He thought the man was just taking his daughter to the bathroom at first. But the reason the story stuck out to him was the fact that the man didn't apologize for bumping into him so hard. He found it rude, and instead he just hurried off without saying a word. And when he saw the news the next day, he knew that Teekah was the little girl he had seen in the bathroom, and he called the police. The witness was interviewed by police but never recontacted. One bowling alley employee reported witnessing a car, possibly late 80s or early 90s model maroon or purple Pontiac Grand Am, race out of the parking lot around 10:30 p.m. that night. Something else to think about: 2 months before Teekah's disappearance, a 4-year-old child was assaulted in the bathroom of the bowling alley. The suspect was described as a white male with a medium build, aged 30 to 40, with long, shoulder-length, scraggly or curly brown hair, a large nose, a mustache, and pockmarks on his face. A few weeks after the first incident, a man with a similar description was accused of trying to lure a 6-year-old boy from the same bowling alley and claiming he was the boy's father. The man left the bowling alley promptly, and it does not appear a police report was made or contacted at all. On the same day of Teekah's disappearance, a few hours earlier, a man with the same description as above was seen at a park less than a mile from the bowling alley, attempting to talk to 2 young boys and lure them into the bathroom. The boy's father chased the man, and he fled the scene in a dark blue 1995 Pontiac Grand Am. In some reports of this story, the man is reported to have a light-colored beard as well as a mustache. The father of the boys didn't report the incident to police until after seeing Teekah's story on the news 3 days later. From day one, Teresa Lewis refused to give up. She worked closely with police. She gave dozens of interviews, and she organized searches. She held prayer vigils and walked wooded trails. She handed out flyers, and for years and years she begged the public, if you saw something, say something and come forward. She made one thing clear, that she believed that her daughter was still alive. Teresa said, I know in my heart Teekah didn't die that night. I believe someone took her to raise as their own, and I believe that God will bring her home. And that faith became her anchor, even when tips dried up, even when the media moved on, even when investigators began to quietly lose hope. Teresa didn't stop believing. Over the years, several theories have surfaced. Some believed it was a stranger abduction, a crime of opportunity. Others suspected somebody at the bowling alley may have known Teekah or had been watching her. There were even rumors about an employee acting strange, though nothing was ever confirmed. In 2010, a tip claimed that Teekah was buried in a specific part of a Point Defiance park in Tacoma. The park was excavated, but nothing was found. Another dead end. But each time the case comes back into public eye, it reignites hope. Hope that someone might remember something. Hope that the guilt might finally outweigh the fear, and hope that silence will give way to the truth. Today, Teekah would be 29 years old. Her mother still celebrates her birthday. She still lights candles, and she still calls her daughter's name into the silence. And she still believes fiercely and fully that Teekah is out there somewhere. Teresa Lewis has turned her pain into purpose, and she advocates for missing children, especially in the communities of color where cases like Teekah's don't always receive the same urgency or coverage. And she works with organizations like the Black and Missing Foundation, keeping attention on these too often overlooked stories. And she reminds the world, you don't stop looking for your baby just because time passes. If you feel led, please take a moment now to pause and pray. Pray for Teekah, wherever she may be. Pray for Teresa, for her strength and peace that surpasses understanding. And pray for the truth to come to light. If you or anyone you know has information, even the smallest detail, about the disappearance of Teekah Lewis, please contact the Tacoma Police Department or your local FBI field office. I've seen a couple different descriptions of what Teekah was last seen wearing, so I'll include them both. One possibility was a green Tweety Bird sweatshirt or a white long sleeve shirt with a red collar and a picture of Tweety Bird on the front with white sweatpants and black and white Air Jordan sneakers. Her hair was pulled into ponytails, and she was also carrying a clear purse with a fish design containing starbursts inside. She was 3 feet tall and about 35 pounds at the time of her disappearance, and she has black hair and brown eyes, dimples, and pierced ears. She has been described as a multiracial female, African American, Caucasian, and Native American. Her mother is said to be Caucasian and Chippewa, while her father is African American. And she has a large birthmark on her left bottom side. She could have patches of light discoloration in her skin due to eczema, and some reports say that Teekah had a silver streak on the right front section of her hair It is unclear if this was dyed or natural. She was only 2 years old in 1999 when she went missing, and there is still a $5,000 reward for information leading to her recovery. Some cases never leave your heart, and this is one of them. A mother holding on to faith for decades. In a world that must keep asking, what more can we do to bring her home? Teekah Lewis deserves answers. She deserves justice, and until the day that those things come, she deserves to be remembered. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Rebel with a Cause, called to the case. I'm sorry it took so long, but until next time, stay hopeful, stay compassionate, and stay called. Goodbye.